finally. I say finally because I'm finally getting to this podcast to record what I thought stood out in the Game of Thrones finale. Now, I did a podcast a while ago, which was a reaction. So right after the episode ended, I just spoke. So I watched the episode again, and then I took some notes to what stood out. And I dictated those notes into my iPhone, and they came out so screwed up that I'm going to put them pictures on my Facebook and on my YouTube page. So you can check out my Facebook at Mike Lane Actor, and YouTube is Mike Lane, the number 1. You can find all the links in any of the podcast descriptions too. So it's been a while since I've actually seen the episode, so I'm going to go from my notes to memory because I just don't have time to watch the episode again. And I recorded a bunch of other podcasts between that, and I posted those, so now I'm finally getting to it. So it may not seem like a while to all of you listening, but it's a while to me, man. So I'm going to begin at the beginning of The Dragon and the Wolf. So it begins, and they're at a castle. You see the conversation between Bron and Jaime, and I don't know. I'm a terrible Game of Thrones fan, because is this supposed to be Casterly Rock? I don't even know what castle this is. And what exactly causes Grey Worm and the Unsullied to be there? And how did they get back if they were trapped by the boats? I'm going to read these stupid notes, because the reason I pause is because I'm trying to read my notes that I dictated, and it just doesn't make any sense, so I'm trying to think while I'm reading, and nothing's happening. I'm going to read all the notes at the end, but this is what this first note says. Is this the Castle Rock? Where exactly is this causes Grey Worm in the Unsullied Rick Astley Rock? My fucking iPhone thought that Casterly Rock was Rick Astley Rock. And then it continues, and had to get back because they were trapped by boats. At least they got trapped by boats right. Oh my god. Where's my coffee? Hang on. Oh my goodness, that's good. All right. Anyway, I always love the Gallows humor to begin with, because I love juxtaposition. So it's great juxtaposition between probably being frightened all the time and being afraid that you're going to die, and then also injecting humor into the situation, because that's all you have. So the Gallows humor between Brian and Jaime, especially the maybe it is all cocks in the end. That's such a great line, and I love how, and it happens in real life, how people use humor to try and dilute the horrible situation that they're all in. I have no idea what this next note is. I have no idea. Remind me never to do a podcast a month after taking these notes. The note says, Death, Rocky, must have been what it was like with the Khans in real life. I have no freaking idea. So I'm moving on to the next one. And so the next thing that stood out was the even more reunions going on. This seemed to be a season of reunions. So now we have Tyrion and Bron and Brienne. And even though they're on different sides, it's great to know they have the... and Brienne and the Hound, but it's great to know that they still have their respect for each other, even though their allegiances have changed, and it may not necessarily be through the choices that they make. It's just the side that they end on. What's great about Game of Thrones is that it's so complicated, and it illustrates complications so well. And speaking of the Hound and Brienne, it's so great to see the humanity in the Hound, because the way he started out, you were like, oh my god, this guy is scary, what's going on? But even though there was that humanity in there, but it was just kind of small, but to see that humanity sprout, you can just see that he knows the benefits of being nice to someone, and he didn't have to take care of Arya, and I know he wanted the money at first, but the fact that he was happy that Arya is taking care of herself, and and it shows that he had some responsibility in that. Shows the evolution of the character. Such a great character arc, and he's such an honest character, and such a brutally honest character sometimes, and a very complicated character as well. I also love the new Lannister guard armor in black. It's a nice touch just to show. I mean, Lannisters were kind of a dark family to begin with, but Tywin had a method and he had principles, and even though he was vicious, he was a guy where there was somewhat principles and trust to, but like Cersei now is just so unpredictable, and you're able to tell in this episode. And I mean, plus the black armor looks so much better than the red armor anyway. And then it shows the I mean, they gotta have the Clegane Bowl next. For those who don't know, the Clegane Bowl is the battle that's gotta happen because they're setting it up too much. It's totally fan service, but it's the ultimate battle between the Clegane brothers. Now, the Cleganes are the Hound, Sandor Clegane, and the Mountain, Gregor Clegane. And Gregor burned Sandor when they were very young. That's why Sandor's afraid of fire, and that's why his face is all burnt. So they're both fantastic fighters. So it's just you know, they're just building up to it, and I wonder. I mean, it would be nice to see the Hound kill the Mountain, but it's probably going to, you know, in Game of Thrones fashion, the Mountain's either going to win or it's going to be some kind of draw, but it's going to be brutal and it's going to be awesome. What stood out to me next was the grand entrance by Daenerys and Drogon and the other dragon. I believe the dragon, I forgot the dragon who's still alive. Maybe it's Rhaegal. Anyway, but it's a great grand entrance, and even though it's CGI, and I'm not the biggest fan of CGI, the dragon looks really good, and I just can't wait till the technology improves even more, and it probably will by the time the next season comes around. But it's a way for Daenerys to make a statement. Everybody's there waiting for her, and this is Daenerys telling Cersei, I mean business, because I have a fucking dragon. So I love that. I love that you can see a great visual spectacle, but there's also the storytelling element in there as well. When Euron is talking to Tyrion, it's kind of a throwback to, like, I don't know if it's historically accurate. I would imagine it is, but like I'm referring to the movie 300, how, you know, if a baby was born and wasn't quote unquote perfect, they would or met certain standards, they would kill the baby and discard the baby. And it's kind of a throwback to that with the Ironborn. And what makes it interesting is that the Greyjoys and, you know, the Ironborn are so just hardcore and so vicious, but like Ned and Robert defeated them. So it goes to show how vicious Ned and Robert were in regards to war. And aside from Jon, there are women rulers. Actually, no. I mean, there really are just women rulers now in the Game of Thrones world because Jon is sworn to Daenerys. And my note says they're really just 2 women rulers considering Jon is sworn in feudal T2 dinners. Jesus Christ, iPhone. Maybe I just don't know how to talk. When the White Walker, or the zombie, is released, it's such a great display of action and storytelling and showing the character of Qyburn and like just the span of a minute, and it's absolutely great, and it's definitely showing and not telling, and it's just a great display of storytelling. So you have the action, just like when the dragon came in. You have the action, and then you have Qyburn, and we all know the character of Qyburn inspecting the hand, and a character like Qyburn is so fascinated with the supernatural or just stuff out of the ordinary, and just that was such a nice touch to show his character do something like that. So during the I had to stop recording because I cannot read these notes. Jesus. But anyway, it's seeing the meeting regarding this. It shows how tricky diplomacy can be, especially with a character like Cersei, because she's not willing to bend at all, kind of. And it just goes to show with Jon making that quote-unquote mistake, he ruined everything. So dealing with someone like Cersei is very much walking on eggshells, very much dealing with a House of Cards, and very much any other cliche I can think of. And that's what makes Cersei such a formidable opponent, and such she's just so smart and so cunning, and you don't know when she's telling the truth or when she's lying. She holds her cards very, very close to her chest, so much so that Jaime doesn't even know some of the things that she's doing. We see Brienne and Jaime reunite, so that's another reunion alert. When Jon's saying really stood out to me. When enough people start making false promises, words stop meaning anything. And in a way, he's right, but also in a way, he's not. And it shows the argument between, what Tyrion says to Jon, where it's like, can't you just lie a little bit just to move this forward, and then we can worry about the truth, because the situation is so dire. So it plays with the ethics of when to lie, when to tell the truth, if to lie, if to tell the truth, and the consequences that come from that. That's another great thing about this show, is that it shows the consequences, and sometimes those consequences can be unpredictable. And then that leads to the argument between Tyrion and Cersei, because they're on the same level intellectually, and they're on the same level emotionally. Now I mean emotionally because they've grown up together. They've known each other, Tyrion's the youngest, but, they've known each other for so long. They've known each other since kids, and they have that familial bond. And it's such great acting by Lena Headey, because she was calm, and then she showed emotion because it's family. And, you can be the most stoic person around, but sometimes there are just some people who push your buttons. And Tyrion is like that with Cersei, and it just shows that emotion bubbles up so much that Cersei just lost it in some moments. But then again, this is Cersei, so was it calculated that she lost it? Or did she really mean that outburst, and she's now using it to her advantage? You just don't know, but it doesn't matter. Just great, awesome acting by Lena Headey. I can't imagine anyone else playing this character, how she just exemplifies the book Cersei so well. And I also noticed it's a great lion head on just the detail to the wardrobe. So like on Cersei's outfit, how the lion's head is sewn in, and I didn't notice that the first time I saw it. It's like right below the middle of her neck. Such just great little subtle touches. And I kind of wish, if it was recorded, or maybe as some kind of bonus footage to show the argument between the rest of the argument between Tyrion and Cersei, but maybe they didn't, because there's something else going on. Dun 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 dun. Now, Theon, which my notes translated as Fiona, Jesus, he is such a tortured character he's such a mentally tortured character. He's such a physically tortured character, and Alfie Allen plays those two sides so well. And I like that, one of my least favorite moments for Game of Thrones was that terrible prison attempt by Yara. She's known as Asha in the book, so I had to think for a second. But by Yara trying to rescue her brother, it was terrible, because it just showed kind of how weak the Ironborn were against Ramsay. In the books built him up to be such a formidable opponent, and the way this was done, like, Yara's like, I'm gonna take all my best soldiers and all my best this and all my best that, and I'm going to rescue Theon. And then it just showed how easily they were defeated in that. But what was good about that failed prison attempt was that it gave Theon more motivation to rescue to rescue his sister. At least there was a reason for that attempt. Now, the fight he had with I guess whoever that leader was for the Ironborn. Now, like in a real fight, usually it's just one punch would render someone out. So I understand how fights in movies are made to be action-packed just to get the drama going. But I didn't like how it was so cheesy. It was kind of like, he's down, but he's not out, and he keeps getting up, and he's down again, and he keeps getting up. It seemed like lazy storytelling. I wish they would have just done it some other way. I understand that's probably the only way the Ironborn are motivated is through an action like that, but it was just the way the fight was set up. I wasn't a big fan of it. And I guess Theon killed the guy because he really messed him up and left him, I would imagine. And I also thought that they were going to drown Theon, because that was the Ironborn's way. You drown the person, and then they get brought back to life. But I guess because a priest wasn't there, they couldn't do it, like to be reborn in some kind of way. And this brings us to Littlefinger. I was very surprised at how Littlefinger, a character who is so adept at knowing everything, mostly knowing everything, was so taken aback. You figure someone would have told him, but I guess, Arya and Sansa held this close to them, but, everybody else knew. Nobody was really surprised when Littlefinger was turned in. So that was, it was great dramatic effect, but it was definitely strange. And also seeing Littlefinger in shock was striking, because this is the first time he really was not in control of everything. So great acting by Aidan Gillen. You're noticing I'm saying great acting, and there's a reason why this is one of the best shows. And it's because some of the best acting is on this show. Sophie Turner, for example, is so good at Sansa, how dealing with the dialogue and how composed that she is, but you can just tell the vitriol in her voice and how angry that she is such a great performance. And it's great how Bran, which my notes said Brian, but it's great how Bran was the key, the person, the artist formerly known as Bran, is the key. So it just shows how, they hinted at that too, but it shows how Bran was able to see it, and it's a good thing everybody kind of believes Bran, but I guess he presented evidence to show that, yeah, this guy can see everything. So just be careful what you say from now on. Man, I hope he doesn't read people's thoughts. Eee. He'd be a great spy. And when Littlefinger, my note said, "When are you killed?" instead of "when Littlefinger was killed." Oh my God. But anyway, when Littlefinger was killed, it was just so swift and was so shocking. I actually screamed out loud. I screamed, "Jesus Christ!" out loud. I was like, oh, it was just so brutal. And so getting back to Cersei, like, I'm curious if Cersei is really pregnant or if she's just using that as leverage somehow. So we'll find out by next season. That would be cool if she was, because it just brings another dynamic for Jaime to fight for something, Cersei to fight for something. It just makes the characters more motivated. But this is Cersei, so who the hell knows? It'll be also good to see the Golden Company after reading about them in the book. It'd be great to see more mercenaries on there, more Daario Naharis's. It'll be great to see more people like Daario coming from Essos. Daario is, in the beginning, was one of my favorite show characters, at least the way... oh my God, I'm forgetting his name. The guy from Deadpool, the first Daario who left the show. Oh, I hate this. He was fantastic as Daario. And the next guy that got as Daario was all right. He just seemed kind of ordinary. But the book Daario you cannot compare. The book Dario is so awesome, and just he's so flamboyant in the book. It would be hard to see what a show Dario would look like compared to what the book Dario is, because the book Dario is just, wearing these thigh-high boots and these bright yellow outfits and having a beard that's 3 colors and in 3 different shapes. It would be weird to see a character like that on screen. It would be interesting. It would be kind of cool. But the way that the book Dario is and how flamboyant he dressed, but how vicious a character is and how so in love he is with Daenerys, they didn't do it on the show well, because I guess they didn't have time to build up the Dario character. But in the book, they just did it so beautifully, how Dario and Daenerys consummated their relationship, and the way it was done, it was just so great. I really thought that that Cersei was gonna have Jaime killed. That's what's another thing that's so great about this show is that you don't necessarily know what's gonna happen, and it wouldn't be surprising had Jaime been killed, especially since this was a finale. So yeah, that was a good scene. That was really good. And I also liked how they had that shot of Bran looking into the fire. Bran's a Stark is Ice is looking into the fire. I just something like that really stood out to me. And what was funny, when Sam joined Bran, another reunion, I thought it was overlooked when Gilly told Sam about Rhaegar, but obviously it wasn't, and it was great to actually finally see Rhaegar after hearing all this stuff about him and reading all this stuff about him, to actually see his face in that, because it was such a mystery surrounding him, and especially since he was actually one of the few characters in Game of Thrones who was good. He had, like Ned, he had these good intentions, but obviously things went wrong. But Rhaegar was actually a good character, and it makes you think what could have happened if it was Rhaegar and Lyanna Targaryen together. What Westeros might have been like, and that's what's so heartbreaking about it. It's just like what could have been. When it finally, the predictable sex between Aunt Daenerys and her nephew Jon Snow, the look on Tyrion's face outside their door makes me wonder if he made a deal with Cersei, and that's the question now. I hope not, but I wouldn't be surprised, because that's probably how he got out alive. So I'm hoping there's not a betrayal, but, maybe Tyrion told Cersei that there will be, and he's gonna, betray Cersei in reality. That would suck. But that's probably what's gonna happen, because, again, this is Game of Thrones. And we find out Jon's real name, Aegon. Aegon has a really good, cool meaning as far as the book reader. So it was nice that he was named Aegon. I'm not going to give anything away. And at this rate, does it really matter who the heir to the Iron Throne is? So technically, I guess Jon is the heir to the Iron Throne, but that throne was overthrown. So it really was Stannis who was the good technical heir, but that was usurped by Robert. So it really doesn't even matter, because people are going to be fighting for it anyway. So that's just what's fascinating about this. Who freaking knows anymore? Now it's just whoever has the smarts and the greatest army, and that's what's going to matter now. The rules be damned, I guess. And I guess it would have been nice for Bran to let Jon know that he's about to have sex with his aunt, if he even knew that, but I guess he wouldn't have been able to get a message to Jon anyway that he's about to have sex with his aunt. And the conversation between Arya and Sansa, what stood out was she's like Jon, wearing her hair like Ned in a way, so it's like Arya's taking on the Ned role, as is Jon, and maybe Sansa's kind of like the mom in a way, and she kind of looks like the mom. So I like how, the way the character looks is almost, who they represent, personality-wise. And the line, the lone wolf dies, but the pack survives. I think that's directly verbatim from the book, and it just outlines even more how much I miss Ned, how great a character and how tragic a character Ned was. And I like how they brought back the memories. They didn't really talk about Catelyn that much. They did have a mom as well. It was just like all about Ned. Even though Catelyn had her flaws, she obviously loved her children and she raised good children. So I don't know. It would have been nice to have somewhat of a tribute to Cat. Maybe that'll be next season. What also stood out is just how lonely Bran is, but I guess he has the equivalent to the Westerosi internet, and maybe he's just never bored and never alone. Maybe he just wants to be alone because he's just hearing all these things at once. And this now brings us to the last scene with the ice dragon. From the point of view of Tormund and Beric, it must be horrifying to see an army of zombies, but then to see a friggin' ice dragon is horrible. And then before seeing the ice dragon, you have the ice giants. But I guess after seeing the ice dragon, the ice giants don't seem that bad, because at least the ice giants can't break down what was thought to be invulnerable and impenetrable ice wall. So, and it also makes me wish that they would have had they would have not have resurrected the dragon for episode 6, because, and then nobody would have said, well, how do they get the chain down there? They wouldn't have had that. Just, you would have assumed that, okay, they found a way to bring the dragon out, but it would have been such a great reveal just if you just had the dragon just fly by and do what he did. And also just like the throw from the Night King was a little weak when he brought the dragon down in episode 6. So, even though he would look cool doing it, the actual throw was like, oh, that was just kind of weird. Like a throw like that didn't seem that the spear would actually reach the dragon. So, but getting back to what I originally said, I wish they would have had that reveal. It would have been such a much better holy shit moment to see that ice dragon do what he was doing. And it is very scary to see the wall come down, because it provided such great security between, a lot of things going on, and now it's just like anything's up for grabs. I do think Beric and Tormund survived because, well, Tormund always seems to survive, and Beric, there's a reason that Beric is staying around. He has that one life left, but there's got to be something more for Beric to do. He's kind of like a sleeper character, and I'm pretty sure he survives, but I'm hoping to see what his actual purpose is. And purpose or not, the North and Westeros are in deep, deep shit. And we're in deep shit because we gotta wait like 2 freaking years or whatever it is to finally see what goes on. But in the meantime, there's like 1,000 other great shows, so it makes waiting not seem as bad. I remember when I was a kid and like when my favorite show ended for the season, just the wait was just excruciating because there wasn't really that many good options on. But now it's just, there's too many good shows. So at least we have that. So, and you'll have me, Mike Lane, that is my name, on Twitter at Mike Lane Act, on Facebook at Mike Lane Actor. And you can email me at mikelaneact@yahoo.com. That's MikeLaneAct, Mike Lane Act. And please comment, share on any iTunes, Podbean, YouTube, Any and all of that would be awesome. And you are all awesome for listening. And I hope you listen again. And oh, I almost forgot. Now is the bonus section where I will read these stupid notes from my stupid iPhone. Okay, now I'm going to start. The first note, and I will just read from the beginning to the end. Is this the Castle Rock? Where exactly is this causes Grey Worm in the unsullied Rick Astley Rock, and had to get back because they were trapped by boats? I always love Gallows humor, and I love the Gallows humor between Brian and Jaime. Maybe really is all cocks in the end. Death, the death Rocky must have been what it was like with the Khans in real life. Even more unions with Pod, Tyrion, Bron, Brienne, even though they're on different sides, and how time changed besides that they're actually on. It's so great to see the humanity in the Hound, because he started off is not that much human, but had a little bit of humanity, and you could see it, but now he's just fully growing in, and just knowing the benefits of taking care of something like RU. I love the new Lannister guard armor in uniform is all black. It's nice to get touch. Ew. The Clegane Bowl fan service, but a great setup. They'll probably end up killing each other. Will be nice to see the Hound kill the Mountain, but it's gonna be some kind of drawn. It's going to be brutal, but it's gonna be awesome. A grand entrance, and even though it's CGI, I'm not the biggest fan of CGI. The dragon looks really good. Really good. I can't wait till the technology improves even more. Throwback to the Spartans, chilling towards those were not like them. They're really just two women rulers, considering Jon is sworn in Fuel T2 dinners. Awesome display of actions to spend special effects. The character of Clegane like all this, and just in a span of a minute, I'm just absolutely magnificent. I am absolutely magnificent. And it's definitely the show don't tell it's great and its storytelling. It was a great con, because I believed that your on would do that part of me didn't, because it was so abrupt. So it was nice when I came back there was just a play. It shows how tricky diplomacy is, especially with the character like Sirs. He's just not willing. He's just not willing to bend that much. The one little mistake just ruined everything, and he truly is a house of cards. Reunion alert, Brienne and Jaime. When enough people start making false promises, words stop meaning anything. Such a great argument between Terry and Sirs, either just on the same level and with such great acting by Lena Headey, because she was calm and then she showed emotion because it's family and you could be the most stellar person around. But sometimes there are just people push your buttons, and me and Heidi did that so wonderfully. What a great lion head in Cersei's outfit. I didn't notice that right in the middle below the neck. I want to hear the rest of Tyrion and Sir's conversation. Fiona, such a tortured character in so many ways, mentally and physically. At least that ridiculous failed prison attempt was drawn upon to give Theon more motivation, because the present time was right, was supposed stupid. Of course, in a real fight, one punch which is usually renders someone out, so real life I will be sure, but I want to be is fun or is action-packed. This was kind of cheesy, like cheesy Hollywood, about he keeps getting back up only to come back in the end, like very Rocky-like. The thing on Kill the Guy. I thought they were going to drown him, triumph Theon. You, the brand being there, would be the guided just solidify everything. Note to everyone in the whole notice about Littlefinger, and not Littlefinger because I would be hard to believe Littlefinger would have found out. Seeing Littlefinger in shock, a striking, because this is the first time is out of control. Sophie Turner, so good at censor. And Brian is the key, or used to be Brian. When are you killed? And I screamed out, Jesus Christ, that was just brutal and swift and shocking. I wonder if she's really pregnant or just using it as leverage. It'll be cold see the Golden Company after reading about them in the box. I was surprised about Euron, but at the same time wasn't. He's not craven to use word from the books. See you so smart, a smart tyrant. Both Jaime and Tyrion blaster. I kind of thought she was going to kill Jaime. I am tearing. And Winter has a right to King's Landing. It's cool that he's Bran's looking into the fire. I thought it was overlooked when Gary told Sam. Obviously, it was so great to finally see Rhaegar's. Rhaegar's one of my favorite characters, just because the mystery it's around him, especially since he was so good, it was always planting in the books that he was good. What's that look on Tyrion's face? That he make a deal with Cersei? That's the question now. I mean, I hope not, but I wouldn't be surprised if you did. That's how we got out alive and hoping to save everything. And the name Aegon Targaryen has meaning in the box. And I get anything way. At this rate, though, does it really matter who is the heir to the Iron Throne, who's not? Because people just gonna be fighting for, and anyway, I guess you can draw the purists out there. Well, Brian, he needed to know before he had sex with his aunt, and she had sex with him. Like John, where is her hair like mad? I gave Lone Wolf guys, but the pack survives line. I believe that's directly verbatim from the book. I miss Ned too. Brenna so lone, but he at least has the West Rossi internet. That must be horrifying to see an army of zombies, but then to see a friggin' ice dragon is horrible. And the ice giants. It's capital G like the football Giants, really. I really wish they would have had this reveal and make it a surprise, and sensing the dragon out of the ice like that and resurrected in the last episode. It's very scared to see that wall come down because it provided search security. I think Derek and Giant Spain survived because Doorman and always seems to survive. Understand the reasons you had Barrack around. They are in deep, 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 deep shit. All right. Talk to y'all later, everybody. Bye.